Could I call now upon Alexei Mlnchenko? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, but I'm very confused. First of all, everybody's tired. We're all tired because this is the end of our conference. And the second reason is that Professor Murqad ate a half of my presentation. So I don't know what to do. I'll try to find immediately something new, but at the same time, in advance, I apologize if I repeat something. Well, I want to tell you a couple of words about why we have to talk that revolution in Iran is continuing. So we witness continuation of the great Iranian Islamic revolution. First of all, because of the political force, the real political force belongs to very radical Islamic establishment. Sometimes we can call them neoconservators or neocons. They came to power step by step in 2004 and 2005. And of course they identify themselves with the revolution itself. They call themselves revolutionaries. Fine. Besides, they have, I would say, a military base to continue their revolutionary deal. What I mean? First of all, it's a Revolutionary Guards Corps and Basiji. Why I mentioned them, both of them? That's because they both were created to defend revolution, to defend Islamic revolution. This is their, I would say, destination. Point number two. Since 79, 80s, the main pillars, the main ideological and religious pillars are kept. Even I would say that in Iran there is a special type of religious and at the same time totalitarian ideology. I don't want to consider that their politics is totalitarian, but as far as ideology, that's true. Because all thinkings, all ideas must be put in the frames of Islam. It reminds me of the time of the Soviet Union. We couldn't think so without referring to the communism, the same thing. Besides, there is a phenomenon which we could call civilizational ambitions. It also remembers the Soviet time, the time of the communism. Iran wants to continue to perform the role of Islamic leader. So despite majority of scholars and politicians thinks that it wasn't an Islamic revolution, but it was a Shia Islamic revolution. But never mind. They never mention that was made somehow on the base of Shia Islam, but it was based on the ideology of total Islam. From this derives the problem of messianism. Well, I have no big experience, but anyway, when you talk to some Arab Islamists, I emphasize with Arab Islamists, they recognize, despite some misunderstanding, that the role of Iranian revolution is great, and it was good for all Muslim world. This ideology, the religious ideology, give an opportunity to mobilize the biggest part of the society And besides, it has two special pillars. One of them is a nuclear program, which we discussed some before. And the second is a presence of the external enemy, the enemy who comes from abroad, the United States, Israel, and somebody else. Once again, I can refer to the Soviet times. The same program, the same bombs, but existed. And the idea of enemy. Next point is connected with the weakness of Iranian opposition. I think that the presence or the lack of the real opposition is in Iran is worth for a special discussion. But anyway, if we look at this circle, Mousavi, Keroubi, and so on, what we could tell, they have no alternative idea. They are so-called improvers of Ahmadinejad or somebody else. They also speak in the terms of revolution. They want to improve something, to ameliorate, but not to give something else, something more. Besides, I don't believe that tomorrow morning or next year an Iranian opposition, will get a charismatic leader, a popular, like Ahmadinejad. It's a tragedy for them. And this proves their weakness. At the same time, we shouldn't forget that in 1977, the opposition, the liberal Islamist opposition, came to power. But practically they could do nothing. Maybe because of their weakness, maybe because of they didn't get an assistance from abroad, and particularly from the United States, but they failed. So I don't believe that more than half of the population in Iran really is ready to support somebody else, if not Ahmadinejad. Well, as you could see, I am very pessimistic, but at the same time, I don't believe that this revolutionary spirit of Iran, the revolutionary spirit of Islam, meets forever. Let's now be a little bit more optimistic. First of all, a poor economic situation. Very poor economic situation, and everybody knows about it. I don't want to comment it. Next, well, I've been in Iran 2 years ago, but I had a chance to talk to my colleagues, and practically all of them say about a frustration, about disappointment. It doesn't mean that in June they will vote for Mousavi, but anyway, even at the moment, they are disappointed with Ahmadinejad. Yes? A majority of the society, in particular in big cities, some like Tehran, Mashhad, and so on, they really they understand the necessity of reforms. And at the same time, they see that a modernization made by Ahmadinejad and his followers failed, and despite maybe some short improvements. I told that opposition in Iran is weak. I told that they have some charismatic leader, and so on. But at the same time, at the beginning of the April, the opinion polls gave 21% of those who will vote for Mousavi. So it's a quarter. If yes, it is a fifth of the population. In my opinion, the elections in Iran are unpredictable. So despite myself, I think that Ahmadinejad will win. But I remember that in 97, nobody predicted the emergence of Khatami, and in 2005, the majority didn't believe in the possibility of emergence of Ahmadinejad. So let's be more careful when we speak about the possible victory of Ahmadinejad. But anyway, if he wins, what will happen in that case? I think that step by step the spirit of revolutionarism will be exhausted, because Ahmadinejad proved that he is unable to pursue real reforms. The frustration, the disappointment will continue, and it's very bad for Islamic radicals. His popularity, as it was told before, is based on his foreign politics. But I don't know how he will behave with the situation when Barack Obama, is ready to dialogue. Well, I'm not sure that his proposals will be very successful, because his hands are tied in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, but anyway, it's not Bush. It's a new line. And I doubt if Ahmadinejad is ready to change his position, to improve, well, to make some changes. So it's a very important for Ahmadinejad and generally for Iran, for Iranian position in the world, and for his relations with the United States. Today we discuss the problem of Iranian bomb. So that's good. But if we did it, I think that we have some right to tell something about so-called preventive measures. What I mean? I mean a strike. Just, I don't think that it's happened, but at the same time, it is possible. It is possible, and we have to think a little bit about results. What we have in Iranian society, inside Iranian society, if it happens. There are two options. Or it leads to consolidation, and Ahmadinejad will stay as he is now, and maybe in that case he will be more aggressive, more radical. It's possible. But the second option is that it could lead to collapse of the Iranian regime. My position, my opinion is that it will consolidate the position of radicals, and their reaction will be very, very dangerous, and it will be reaction not only against the bombers, but against some in general the enemies. So to think about the possibility of the collapse of Iran, and to believe in the possibility of changes in Iranian society, in Iranian political establishment, after the potential strike, in my opinion, it would be a mistake. Let's imagine that Ahmadinejad fails, and he will be replaced by Mousavi. Is it possible? Well, maybe. If it happens, my opinion is that it will be the last chance for moderate Islamists to start evaluation of Islamic society. Well, I could tell you that I hope that it happens, but I don't believe. But if it happens, if it happens, that will be the last sign of the normal, peaceful evolution of Iranian society. So when we talk about Iran, when we try to understand what we have in this country, when we try to understand the foreign policy of Iran, the place that occupies and will occupy Iran in the future, as I understand, and I think that you will agree with me, that we have a certain final issue. We discuss and we continue to discuss all the problems, and it's good. But at the same time, it's very difficult. At the same time, it's very difficult. And I don't want to make conclusions. It's useless. But Professor Menashe, who will talk about me, who will talk after me? Excuse me, please. Well, he will speak about Iranianism and Islamism. At the moment, and Islamism and Iranianism are going both together. But the positive solution for Iran, I think, resides in Iranianism, if it's possible, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alexei.